Good evening, Rust enjoyers. I hope you're doing right, 'cause it's time for another Rust investing review. Last week, of course, was the June 13 Rust, so today that means we're here to discuss the June 2024 Rust rotation. Now, you're probably sitting here and wondering, what's a Rust investing review? Well, don't worry, I'll sit here and explain. Basically, with every Rust that we have, 4 weeks later, I'll go back to that Rust, see how the skins are currently holding up, and see if everything matched up to expectations. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to look at all of these skins and remember what my initial reaction was, and with the likes of my predictions video, it's not too hard. I'll discuss what skins I felt most confident in, what looked to be a fairly reasonable and interesting looking investment, what did I not feel so confident in, and then of course with the progression of when we approach these skins with the abnormal barders, did we feel strongly about certain skins after a few days of sales, or did we even consider making any purchases? And then we talk about the outcomes. Did certain things not go very well as expected? Did certain skins do very nicely because there's a lot of justification behind it? Well, if it did, cool. But if it didn't, I have to sit here and explain why. Sounds good? Right, let's get started. Initial reaction. So for this Rustor, I didn't really expect that much of it, to be honest. Now, cool, we got some more primitive skins. That's nice. The bone armor did look cool with its transparency, but I specifically remember the bandana weirdly bends. I remember this, and I wasn't feeling super confident purely based on that. Now, oh look, another double door, a sheet metal double door to be precise. Oh dear, ooh, that might be a bit of a problem, because that was like the 10th one, yeah. And then, oh look, Cold Hunter's Return, that was very nice to see, and oh look, a very cool looking rock. So, overall, it was alright, but when it came to predicting whether these skins were going to be perfectly fine looking investments, not really. The very first thing I discuss is, no, at some point later this year, of course, autumn fall seasonal dip, when less people are playing the game, I will not be surprised in the slightest if that whole roster at one point will be in the negative. But still, I looked at it and I could sit there and say what I still felt most confident in. A smart buy order could always lead to a fairly decent profit. So I looked at the likes of the Nuke Room Double Door. With the first few hours of sales, it was selling okay, not too crazy. And with all the other sheet metal double doors that we had accepted up to this point that year, or this year, because it's still this year, they still did a very good job of retaining their value. And even right now, pretty much all the skins are still in the positive. Not by much, but some of them still rose up quite nicely. Now, of course, as time goes on, it's still expected it's going to suffer. Once we reach around October time, it's expected it will go below its Rust price. How low will it go? We shall see. If there are going to be any continuations, we would expect that we'll see some spikes in demand, spikes in price. There's a lot ahead of it, and Nuke Room Double Door, even though you were supposed to be a military skin, which was a whole thing, you ended up becoming your own collection. So we'll talk more about that. So that was the skin I did feel most confident in terms of, walking away with some decent profit. But the next skin was a bit of a risk. I looked at the likes of the Ice Eye Rock. So reminding myself of this, after the first few hours of sales, it wasn't really selling that much. Its position in terms of sales was one of the lowest selling skins, and I thought, you know what, as time goes on, by next week, I don't even think it's going to sell that much. I think, in the long term, that would actually work out quite alright. So the Ice Eye collection was progressing quite nicely. Up to that point, it was the third instance of the skin because the tools were, together. But anyway, it was a weapon/tool only collection up to that point, and it did look like things could work out reasonably for it, but only in the long term. I still looked at that and said, you know what, I still see it going below its Rust price, but I don't imagine it's going to go down too badly. As time goes on, all ice-related rock skins do usually work out quite alright. Yeah, that was a bit of a joke. So just to quickly look at the likes of all the rock skins, last year we had tons of animal-themed ones, but up to that point this year, we had some fairly reasonably okay-looking ones. But the Ice Eye, the design of it, it did look really cool. Didn't even glow in the dark, just looked nice. Gunyet and Zinc made a wonderful piece of work there. But I made this joke, all the ice-related rock skins, end up ever so high in the positive. But will it? We'll discuss this a little bit more, but yeah, I had expectations it was going to go below its Rust price still, but surely, later down the line, things could still work out alright for it. Okay, cool. So what about all the other skins then? Well, once we looked at the other skins, I considered Bone Armor, Bandana and Poncho. Whilst I didn't like the bandana that much based on the awkwardness of the design, I understood that, hey, look, if any continuations were produced and accepted, doesn't matter. When more primitive skins are accepted, pre-existing primitive skins are very likely going to spike demand, spike in price. It was a default sort of situation. I'll talk more about that in terms of did it even progress. Then with the likes of the Cold Hunter Custom SMG, hey, it was very nice to see another Cold Hunter skin appear and be accepted. Cool. But I'd take one quick look at all the custom SMG skins, and it was very blatantly obvious that it very likely would still suffer. And then, of course, I also bring up the whole idea of all the recent Cold Hunter weapon skins didn't exactly hold up very well either. So at that point, I was like, well, it's nice to see it. I think I'm just going to stick with doing a barter. And yes, of course, it will be quite a fair bit lower than its Rust Store price. But I do believe I could still walk away with at least a decent bit of profit. And then looking at the likes of the wooden base box, okay, cool, we got the 4th base box skin being accepted. Now this one's a little bit awkward because it wasn't actually like part of the group. Aloe was like the main guy for this one. Don't worry. But basically, we already had 3 base boxes up to that point. The wooden one was finally accepted. Whilst these initially did spike demand a little bit, yeah. Now, I was thinking, will there be another one? We already had, at that point then, wood, stone, sheet metal, armoured, HQM. Yeah, basically, it didn't feel like there was going to be another one produced. I didn't think there was going to be anything to kind of give that much of a boost afterwards. Yeah, I wasn't confident in it. I thought it was going to suffer, especially with the idea of, is anyone going to actively even try to get all the boxes out and separate them, skin them, blah, 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 you get the idea? I don't think that was going to really happen. So I wasn't that confident in it. And, well, we'll talk more about that, won't we? And then with the likes of the Prototype 7164 Thompson, I mean, at that point, it was becoming very evident that we're getting quite a lot of Thompsons up to that point in the year. And I wasn't going to be surprised if we're going to see another one eventually. And, of course, for the rest of the year, potentially we're going to match up to the amount that we got the previous year. So in 2023, we got 17 Thompson skins in total. And, well, up to that point, at the very end of June, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're getting pretty close. With the momentum of acceptances or introduction of new skins, definitely look like we're going to match up to that. And with the behaviour of most of those skins from the previous year, wasn't expecting much from the Prototype Thompson. It's unfortunate, but hey, I had expectations. I wonder if it matched up to what I thought. Yes. So, we also had the likes of the Fiend Metal Door. Very cool looking glow-in-the-dark design. Sheet metal door, though. So many sheet metal doors were accepted up to that point. Pretty much, well, all of them were in the negative. It wasn't looking good. I was hoping to see a continuation, and we'll talk about that. But did it even get accepted? And did it work out well? Yes. And then we had the War Tech tools. Pretty much every single hatchet and pickaxe skin that was accepted over the past 2 years was down by 50%. And I just had very little faith in it. Sorry to say. So, expectations, I made a decision in terms of what I felt confident in, and then of course, as at least 6 days passed, how did things turn out? Well, from what we can see here, or rather, let's just go back over to here, and just imagine, looking at all these subscriber counts, just push it back about 1,000, and yeah, Cold Hunter Custom SMG up to that point had about 13,000 subscribers. Nuke Room Double Door didn't sell that much. I looked at all the other sheet metal double doors that came out up to that point, and, well, this one was almost the lowest. We had the likes of the Graffiti Love Double Door earlier in the year, but this one, selling at a slightly higher price, with the potential of turning into a much bigger collection, that made it so much more interesting. So, yeah, I had to consider that, and then, of course, the likes of all the other skins didn't really sell that much across the board up to that point, so did I really change my mind on anything? Well, here we go. For the prices of the abnormal skins, Cold Hunter Custom SMG, I thought 80 cents to $1.20. I couldn't help but assume that was definitely going to go down by at least half its price at some point later down the line, probably around October time. I thought, yeah, knowing how all the other fairly notable custom SMGs that were accepted this year that are part of notable collections, how they performed, yeah, I'll play it safer, 80 cents to $1.20, surely that'll be alright. So that's how I went about that. For the Nuke Room Double Door, I accepted that with the sheer lack of sales that would make it look very interesting, but I couldn't help but wonder, I don't think this would turn into a collection, or rather successfully turn into a collection. I didn't think Robstar was going to commit into following this up with even more skins. I wasn't fully sure of it. But again, based on what I was expecting by default, with all skins eventually going down into the negative, I thought I'm going to go $1 to $1.50. With the likes of the Fiend Medal Door, I didn't have that much faith in it. I mean, just take one quick look at what you see here. Every single sheet metal door that was accepted so far this year has not performed very good. Oh dear. So, with that, I only offered 60 cents to 80 cents. With the wooden base box, it didn't look like there was any signs of that really going to get another continuation. A good couple of weeks before this was accepted, we did see the likes of a Brutalist design. The skin creators decided to start doing building skins for these base boxes, but with that being picked over it, it didn't look very promising. So I decided with the likes of this, 80 cents to $1.10. Yeah, I didn't have that much confidence in it. So moving on from there, we have the likes of the Bone Armor, Bandana and Poncho. Now we didn't see any immediate signs of a continuation for these skins. So with the likes of the Bandana, having seen how Bandana skins were performing up to that point, none of them were really doing very well. And of course with the Poncho, basically the same thing. I thought to myself, you know what? 50 cents to 60 cents for the Bandana and 60 cents to 80 cents for the Bone Armor Poncho. Didn't have a lot of faith in it. Yes, I know, they are selling for $1.49 and $2.49. Didn't matter. Anyway, moving on with the likes of the Prototype 7164 Thompson. Yeah, I was not going to be convinced. What's the word to say? It really didn't look that promising. I take a look at all the Prototype skins that were accepted previously, and they weren't really holding up very well, and I was fully expecting more Thompsons to be accepted. Like, it didn't look good. So, with a lack of confidence, I didn't really want to offer too much. Yes, it sold at $2.49, but I did acknowledge at the very least, Thompsons don't go down too cheap. Usually they stay at least above $1. So as I look right now, you can see that the cheapest one is still slightly above $1 at $1.15. So I thought, you know what? I could offer 80 cents to $1.20. We'll see how things turn out. If the price gets super cheap, you could always remove that $1.20 price by order, lower it down and put down a newer one at a cheaper price. It'll be alright. You should be reasonably okay. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, the big surprise was the Ice Eye Rock. I was very surprised to see that it didn't even crack up to close to around 10,000 subscribers. Up to that point, on the night of doing the abnormal barders, there's like 8,000 something. I can confirm that right now. It was sitting there with 8,470 subscribers. I was rubbing my chin, acknowledging that this was one of, or was it the lowest selling rock skin up to that point. For the past, what was it? For the past 2-ish years, basically, yeah. Ancient Squiggles, quite some time back, with only 6,000 subscribers. But this stood out to me. Shiny, cool looking, part of a collection that's getting more skins accepted. I had to think of it a little bit more, but I also had to acknowledge that, based on the performance with all the other rock skins so far this year, and it being a weapon-only collection, or weapon/tool-only collection at that point, it was still expected it was still going to go below its Rust price, but how low could it potentially go? That was the big question. So I decided $1 to $1.50. If it sold quite a fair bit more, I definitely would have offered a lower price. But it looked interesting, it looked promising, and I definitely want to catch up on that, talking about its outcome. So I'll save that for a bit. And then when it came to the likes of the War-Tech tools, 60 cents to 80 cents. Try and pick them up for a super cheap price, because at the end of the day, if you manage to pick them up for those prices, you could just turn it into metal and sell the metal and walk away with at least a reasonable bit of profit, because I just didn't have that much faith in it. And that was that. So let's now discuss the actual outcomes, because yes, whilst we did those abnormal barders, I didn't actually buy anything. Didn't feel confident in any of it. I knew I'll definitely be able to pick these up for a cheaper price in the future, blah, 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 yep. Let's talk about those outcomes. So, 4 weeks later, looking at this Rust store, yeah, pretty much everything matched up to expectations. Cold Hunter Custom SMG, you're down by 35%. Not exactly the most wonderful looking piece of scenery, but yeah, it's all about the weapon itself. If people aren't actively wanting to use the weapon, where's the justification to use the skins? Therefore, it becomes a struggle for these skins to retain value, because people keep undercutting each other, trying to make a sale actually happen. And lo and behold, the highest buy order, $1.20. So we'll see how that potentially turns out in the future, but yeah, even though Cold Hunters, a fairly well-beloved, well-known collection that's been around for about 5-6 years now, even that couldn't support that. So it's the weapon itself, custom SMGs, Their skins, oh dear, oh dear. Right, Nuke Double Door. So, again, it was a big surprise, I believe. Yeah, so it was supposed to be a military skin, but it was called Nuke Double Door for some strange reason. Face Punch changed the name. We don't know why. Robstar decided to follow the theme. He wasn't sure what was going to happen next. What he did was he called his next deplorable skin Nuke. No, it was Nuclear Military Large Box. When they accepted it, they called it Nuke Room as well, so he changed it to Nuke Room as well. So what eventually happened was we did end up with a brand new deplorable collection called Nuke Room. And so far we have 3 skins currently accepted, very nice, and with each new continuation, the double door did kind of go up a bit. It was nice to see. Expectations were met. It's done a fairly decent job of retaining most of its... Well, it's in a positive hedge. But will this always stay like this? Again, eventually as time goes on, it will go below its rostral price. I do stand by that point. I'm pretty sure it will happen, and I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing even more sheet metal double doors. Twitch drops in the rustler, doesn't matter. It's inevitable. I'm so sorry. But the barders, yeah, they're actually looking very strong. But will it last? We shall see. So if you ended up picking up some of these and flipping them for a profit, props to you. Good job. I don't know how long this is going to last, and I don't know if we're going to get any more than 3 deplorables. That's a whole nother trend, a whole nother silly thing. But good stuff so far. Best of luck to Robstar with more potential acceptances in the future. The Fiend Metador. Yeah, that's basically matched up exactly to what I thought was going to happen. Now, there was a garage door. A garage door was produced, but it wasn't accepted. Shame. But yeah, look at the state of that. Yeah, it's not holding up very well. Only 36 listings on the Steam market. And on average, with all the Ruskins on the Steam market, they usually have around 100 quantity on average. But only 36? That definitely shows a sheer lack of demand. Yeah, awkward, but expected. Moving on, wooden base box. Unfortunately, it has suffered. So the main question is, like, out of all the boxes, wait, where's the collection? Alloy, let's go to Mr. 38's workshop because he's actually the main guy behind the whole collection. And when I look at these skins, if I look at the full set, I questioned, as I said, who's actively going to whip out 4 small boxes just so they can have all of them on display? Maybe a few people do that, but would there be enough people to potentially hold up the value of all of them? I always stood by the idea of, I bet only one of them is going to get liked and the rest of them are going to suffer. Evidently, they've all suffered. So if I just quickly bring up the base boxes again, as you can clearly see, that's down by 25%. And if I go over to here and look at the other 3, down 44, down 45, and down 30. Oh dear. But yeah, expected. Now, is there any other skin that could come out to help them all out? Well, not really, because, well, when one gets accepted, whilst they get a bit of interest for a while, they drop back down again. Nothing's going to help it out, I'm afraid. And it looks like it is complete. So we'll see what happens in the future. But as of now, that has matched up to expectations. It hasn't dropped all the way down to the expected price of around half its value. But give it some time. I wouldn't be surprised if it drops down further. So October is still quite a ways away. With the likes of the bone armor, well, unfortunately, whilst there was a continuation that was produced, the skin creator has been collaborating with other people. So his time has been kind of focused in those collaborations. So we have the Fiend Garage Door right there. And we've had the likes of the Metal Rock over here, which was a sequel to the Hard Clothing. Anyway, over to here. Yes, we did get Bone Burlap, and it did look good. Zihan did do a good job with this. It wasn't accepted. I know. So, Face Punch doesn't want to commit. These skins suffer. This is now down to 87 cents, as you can see here. With a sheer lack of listing still, there is no interest, I'm afraid. It's very unfortunate. And I know for a fact a lot of people are now aware of the weird bend that you see in-game. It's straight there, but in-game, when you move your head and whatnot, bent. Poncho, of course, is also suffering quite a fair bit as well, basically down to half the price. Only 22 listings. As I said, with a sheer lack of listings, but a very low price, clear sign of nobody really cares for it, I'm afraid. So, yeah, we're getting very close to those barders now. People probably should start removing them. Right, over to the likes of the prototype 7164 Thompson. Yeah. What is there to say? There you go. Basically matched up perfectly to expectation. 22 listings there. That clearly isn't working out very well. Oh dear, oh dear. But in terms of the prices with the barders, hey, hasn't gone down all the way rock bottom to around $1 yet, and there's still a fairly decent amount of barders here. Listen, if you're that guy right there, yeah, I would recommend you remove your 81 quantity buy order. I'm pretty sure it could still get a bit lower, but we'll see. Maybe this is the lowest point. We'll discuss that. Now, talking about lowest point, ISI Rock. Yes, it is below its restore price. Yes, by quite a margin, down by 24%. But with what I see here, only 24 listings, right? And it's very thin. 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. Now, there's quite a significant amount until you get back up to the price it's sold from the Rust store. That's at least 15. However, I still feel reasonably confident for it in the future. It really didn't sell that much. One of the lowest selling rock skins to be accepted in the past 2 years. I can still see that working out ever so nicely in the future, especially based on the fact that we are still seeing ISI skins being accepted. Deplorables. Oh. So as time goes on, if we keep getting a whole bunch more of these skins accepted, I'm pretty sure these will get at least a little bit more interest. Give it time. It definitely feels like it's a long-term investment. But as of now, $1.88, down by 24%. We are matching up to expectation, but if it goes significantly lower and never recovers, I would be wrong there. I know, I'll admit that. War Tech Tools, yeah, same old, you know. Oh look, a new hatchet skin was accepted. Down 45, down 39, down 48, down 41. That is already down to $1 because it sold for 99 cents. Down 51, down 47, down 50, down 51, down 50. Yeah, it's always like this. I'm sorry, but you know, expectations were met. Down 50, down 38, down 45, down 35. That's doing a little bit better, but it's still barely over $1. Down 48, down 51, down 60, down 47. Yeah. So overall, everything matched up to expectation there. That is our conclusion. There's not much else to say. And, well, the real question is, are these skins potentially still going to go lower? I would expect so, yes. So, please, if you did buy orders on these, even if you did lowball buy orders, make sure you keep an eye on them, okay? Because you don't want to get dumped on. That's why I made such a fuss about this guy over here with 81 quantity buy order. Like, mate, I'm just saying, like, someone's going to get really reckless, and he probably bought 100 of them, and he's wanting that sunk cost fallacy, and he's like, I've got to get at least some money. That guy will do, whoosh, and then you're the one who spent all your Steam wallet, so. And then you've got to wait at least like a few months until you can sell them and at least get some money back, or at least a little bit of profit. So yeah, that's it. Things aren't exactly looking fantastic as we progress with these future Rust stores, but everything's matching up to expectation in terms of I expect to reach around this lowest point. So if you can understand that, grab some money whilst you can in terms of selling your skins now, because whilst prices are gradually going down, still quite a fair bit high. We're expecting lowest point October 2024. So let's wait and see. I'm a bit mumbly, sorry about that. I hope the video was nice for you. Please consider commenting below. Did you make any profits out of the likes of these skins here? Have you made any purchases? Have you been dumped on? Please tell me, I'd like to know. And with that, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Catch you later. See you, goodbye.